Hi everyone, it's Lisa again. I am videotaping from my home, crafting from my kitchen. I hope you are staying warm on this very cold February day. Today we are going to be making a craft that I just came up on, although I understand a lot of people make these, but I just found them to be adorable. Something that I could see myself making a lot of. I'm not sure what I would do with them yet, but I have some suggestions for you. These are our DIY fabric feathers, and these are super easy to make. So I want to go ahead and give you a list of supplies. We'll look at these just a little bit more, and then I'm going to actually finish one that I've already started so you can see the end results. So I'm going to put these to the side, and the first thing that you're going to need is, I think these are tartan. I think we labeled it on our calendar at the library as our tartan plaid feathers. And so I ordered some plaid fabric, and you guys will get a couple of pieces of this in your kit that you can work with and make your own feather. But you do need a piece of fabric. It needs to be a woven fabric, one that is actually going to pull apart. We want it to fray, just as I've done here. The next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a pattern, or you can come up with your own pattern. I came up with my own pattern for these, but there will be some feather patterns in your kit. The next thing that you will need is something for the center. Now I found using this leather worked perfectly. I have made this one using just twine, and it works perfectly fine. I like the look, I think, of the leather. Any accessories that you want, any beads, as you can tell, this is just one container of beads that I have that are old vintage beads. Some of them are new, just broken necklaces, etc. So anything like this that you want to add any embellishment as well. And I believe that essentially is all you're going to need, except some needle and thread. And I already have my needle here, and I have just used a neutral thread. As a matter of fact, I don't know that you can even see that thread up through the center of that. On this one, I chose a red, and you can see it just a little bit, but it's an equal stitch. I did it pretty equally, or pretty evenly spaced, and so I don't mind that. So all I simply did was I cut out my feather pattern, and there again, I will provide one for you, or you can make up your own. This one I made up on my own. I just wanted a bigger, wider feather because these are very narrow. By the way, this is my first one, and that is not good. I did not do a good job on that. I'll be the first to admit it. But as I progressed, I think this might be my second one. I'm a little bit more impressed with that one. And then I believe we went on to this third one, which is much better. My stitching is more even. It actually looks like a feather. So I cut out my pattern on my woven fabric. I cut off a piece. I'm going to take my embellishments off for a moment. I'll tell you what my purpose for this one is when we finish. I took a piece of my leather. Remember, you could use a ribbon, you could use twine, whatever you chose. I just happen to have this on hand. I really like the look of it. The feather and the leather seem to go together. I place the tip, once I've cut out my feather, I paste the tip of the leather at the very end there. Now on this one, you'll see I didn't go to the very end. I actually left some because I wanted to fray the end of the feather as well. But I started almost to the very end on this one. And all I'm simply doing, it's so simple. I double my thread. I did not want a single thickness. I wanted double thickness. You can see that there are two thicknesses of thread there. And all I'm doing is wrapping, essentially I'm wrapping the leather. I'm taking a very small stitch. I want to try to keep that right up the center. I did not use any pins or anything. I'm just wrapping the leather. I'm stitching on one side and back up the other side. And what that's doing is it's catching and causing this leather to stay in place, but it's also forming a little stitch pattern on the very back. I'm going to go ahead and finish this one real quick. Even if you have novice sewing skills, you can do this. Especially if you have a thread that corresponds pretty easily with your fabric. It's not as noticeable on the back. Now, what do I see you doing with these? I see these hanging off of a keychain. You know, they say that you should have lightweight baubles on your keychain so that it doesn't hurt the key and the ignition, where the key goes into the ignition. And so this would be very lightweight. I also see this one planned as just a really cute bookmark. And we'll see if we can't finish it and actually use it for that purpose. I'm almost done, almost to the end here. Now on the very end, I'm just going to do that same stitch just a couple of times to anchor it. And then I'm taking my needle and going back up through some of my stitches. I'm going to do that a couple of times. And that way I know it's anchored and will not come out. I'll need my scissors. I'm going to clip that. Now how do I get the feathered look? A woven fabric can be easily pulled by the fibers along the edges there to ravel it. And that part is next. That's what we're doing next. We're simply raveling or taking out one of the woven threads. Now I'm going to finish this, and when I come back we will show you the finished product. Okay, I'm back, and as you can tell I have pulled all of the loose threads out. I've kind of fringed it all the way up to the center point, and that's about as far as I want to go. As you can tell on the back, if you can see that, I've left maybe an 1/8 to a 1/4 of an inch distance close to my leather up the center. And there is my fabric feather. Now I'm going to add some embellishments. I just want to make sure I'm not going to be able to pull that bead completely off. So I like that one. And I like this one. They kind of have a Native American or a cowboy look, I think maybe. So I'm going to tie a knot down close to my bead. So I want to travel that knot all the way down. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to tighten that just a little bit. Okay, so there's my first 2 beads. And then I think just to finish it off, I just want to do something on this end. So I'm going to see if I can't put a couple of beads on there on the end. And as I said, I really would like to turn this into a bookmark. I think it would make a great little bookmark for the reader. So I'm going to tie a knot first. That kind of gives me a little landing place for my beads. And I think I had one more little bead in here. And you have to look closely because some of your beads will not, the leather will not fit through them. And I was lucky in that I found those 3 for the top. And then close to my brown bead, I'm going to tie a knot. And there we go. I think that is cute. I think it's going to make a great little bookmark. The beads on the end are not too large that it would interfere with your book pages. I also made this one, as I mentioned earlier, out of the green, which I really like. I attached some brown beads to that and left the end as is. And on this one, I attached a few of the silver beads. I think this one would actually look cute on a key ring. I hope you've enjoyed our DIY tartan plaid fabric feathers. That's a mouthful. I've enjoyed making this. That's probably my favorite. Feel free to post pictures. If you make these, we will provide a kit for them. It will include a couple of pieces of the tartan plaid fabric, a strip of leather, and then I do believe you have needle and thread at home, and we might actually throw in a few embellishments if I can find some at the library for you. I hope you've enjoyed this craft. If you make this craft, please post it to our Facebook page and keep crafting.